What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today it's going to be a quick video. We just finished up the first round on Wednesday. Uploaded the second and third rounds, I believe, yesterday. Hopefully you guys like that video. Today we're going to be doing my top 50 big board, just my top 50 prospects, and it's going to be quick. If you want more prospects or in-depth prospect, positions, comment down below. The previous video will be linked down below, as well as, just some kind of description of just, what you guys want to see next week. So, or this coming week, we will be full-fledged going. Draft is next week. So we're going to be sending out videos almost daily now. I need to catch up. I need to log in, focus down and really just hammer this throughout the draft and post-draft. But for right now, we're going to do my top 50 prospects. Here we go. We're going to start. Number one is Kayvon Thibode out of Oregon. I truly believe that he is the number one athlete. Didn't test, top tier, but on film, on the field, he's the best athlete, the smoothest guy, and he's really, really, really good. My number two prospect is, I like Evan Neal. I like the bigger build. I like the Alabama scheme. 6'7", 350. He's just so big, so fast, such a mover. Plays anywhere, but you want him at tackle. If you had to put him at guard, you can, but he's gonna be a decade and a half tackle for a very long time. My number two prospect is actually Ikem Akwanu. I just finished watching more film on him, just an hour ago or so. And man, when this dude gets moving, when the line gets moving, when there's screens, when he gets moving up the field into that second level, he's probably better than Evan Neal. He's probably the best we've seen in a long time at getting to that second level. Maybe since, honestly, Quentin Nelson didn't even get to that second level as good as he does at the college level. And, I think Ikem is just, I think the upside of Ikem is bigger, but right now Evan Neal is the surefire pick. My number four prospect, I still think it's Kyle Hamilton, safety out of Notre Dame. Yes, he didn't test in the top tier elite, of safeties this year, but film don't lie, the size doesn't lie, athleticism, brains doesn't lie, IQ, play style. He fits anywhere, dime, nickel, linebacker, slot, free safety, box safety, strong safety. If you need to put him out corner, you can match him up. Brandon Browner was 6'4", 220 pounds, and Kyle Hamilton is 6'4", 220 pounds. And I think Kyle Hamilton has better ball skills, better coverage skills, and has a better IQ than Brandon Browner ever did in his peak season career a while back. And I think if you need him to play corner in certain situations, he can, but he's going to play all over this defense. Number five, Ayden Hutchinson. He was my number two prospect if you asked me a month ago, but you can't deny these tackle talents. And Kyle Hamilton, even though he doesn't test, he's the surefire number one safety. But the number two safety will not be off this board very long. You'll see soon. My number six pick is going to be Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State. JUCO guy, last chance you. Big fan. You just see him on film and on the field. He just stands out. He's not the tallest, not the biggest, not the fastest, not the strongest, but he just looks the part, walking off the bus, walking onto that field in warmups, in pregame, walking off after halftime. Man, this dude just looks the part, plays the part, high motor, don't stop. And he's got a super, super strong upper body for a guy that's his size and his scheme. My number seven is Jamison Williams. Even with the ACL injury, he was still, even without it, he'd be in this range. He's truly my number one receiver. But Jamison Williams, the route running, the speed, the hands, the awareness, that one play just busted this whole thing wide open. If he was healthy without the ACL injury, he's their clear-cut number one top 10 pick. And here we go. Number eight, it's going to be Ahmad Gardner. I think he's really good. He's going to be a top 15 pick, but he's a top 10 prospect. Long, lanky, fish the scheme, long, great in man coverage, great in zone, great underneath, great over the top. He could play 2, play 4. He can man up on your number one. He can man up on the slot. He can man up anywhere. He's a nightmare mismatch. And I think the only thing that could go bad for him is bad coaching or an injury, or else he's not going to flop in this league. Pick number 9, Trayvon Walker. Really high on him, but not as high as everyone else. Yes, in my mock draft, he went 5 or 6. He went 5 to the Giants, but I just think he's not quite there. I think that was what I think, the GMs are going to do mock draft, and I'm going to do what I would do mock draft. So Trayvon Walker 9 here, size, speed, strength, testing ability, field, pass, everything. And we're going to go take a receiver. And then my number 10 prospect is Chris Olavey, my number 2 receiver. I really like him. I've liked him for the past 3 years. I think he's just one of the smoothest guys aside from Jamison Williams coming out. And he's going to be a pass catcher for a very long time. And then my number 10 prospect is going to be Derek Stingley. My 11 prospect, people are getting prospect fatigue. And I think, honestly, he's still one of the best corners in this draft. Just a toss-up if you want a little bit more man coverage flexibility with Stingley, or if you want a bigger body zone press corner like Ahmad Gardner, just depending on what you see. And prospect number 12, it is going to be Jordan Davis out of Georgia, 6'7", 350, biggest dude on the field, moves like one of the smallest dudes on the field. Big, incredibly athletic. People says he has no stamina, no pass rush upside. If you're this big, I don't need you to get to pass rush. I just need you to block 2 guys at once so my other 3-4 guys that I send can get there. I need you to get pressures. I need you to eat up space. And if I'm going to take you in the first, 20 picks, you better do that at the best of your ability. His size, speed, strength combo allows him to do that. So prospect number 12 isn't gracious. It's perfectly fine where he's at. And my number 13 prospect, Andrew Booth, he's my 3rd or 4th best corner, just depending on the day you ask me. I do like McDuffie over him a little bit some days. I like him over Stingley certain days. It's just depending on how you ask me and where he goes to what scheme, just depends on the prospect ranking. But right here, overall, he's a top 15 pick. He's a late riser, but he's a top 15 pick. Been on him for a while now. I'm a big Darian Kendrick fan. Clemson transfer to Georgia. People have him falling out at a 3rd. I think he's still a good pick in the late second. I think he's a good value in the late second, but don't sleep on Andrew Booth, as a top 15 prospect overall. And my number 14 prospect is Devin Lloyd. I like him a lot. He plays everywhere, plays hard, plays, with, speed, power, and brawn and brains. So that's something that, you just get out of Utah players. They're not only tenacious and nasty and gritty, but they're smart. They know how to play. Devin Lloyd from Utah, my 14th prospect. And to prospect number 15, it's going to be Charles Cross. I like him a lot. If he fell to number 9, I would hop all over that if I was a Seahawks fan. Or as a Seahawks owner, I'm a fan since birth. Shout out to the 206. But Charles Cross, really good tackle. I think he has more upside than he does have a high floor right now. I think we're going to be looking at 3-4 years in the future, not 3-4 games into this next season. Pick 16, like I said, you don't have to wait long. Daxton Hill, man. I just think his flexibility is too great on the perimeter. Free, strong, box safety, corner, slot, nickel corner. He's a little slimmer than you think, under that 195 mark at 6'1", but he's long, lanky, really ferocious at the point of attack. Could be one of the best tackling safeties in this draft class. Number 17, Linderbaum comes off the board. I like him a lot. A little bit of an undersized interior offensive lineman. There's nothing like an Iowa player, especially from the physical standpoint of the offensive or defensive line, that is undersized. He's just going to work. He's going to work for a long time. I see a little bit of Max Unger. I see a little bit of, Matt Khalil. These guys are the little smaller, guys that just kind of stuck around for a really, really, really long time. Multiple Pro Bowls, and I think Linderbaum can be that for you. Prospect number 18, we're going to go Drake London out of USC, the best jump ball receiver in this class by a mile. The best I've maybe seen ever since I started watching college football like that in about 2011, 2012. So he's the best jump ball player I've seen ever. Prospect 19, Davonte Wyatt, Jordan Davis's teammate. If you want more of that right now, finesse pass rusher, this is him. If you want that powerful space eater, that's Jordan Davis. Want a little bit more pass rush, finesse, hand, precision technique, that's Davonte Wyatt. Wyatt, Davis, and what is his name? Trayvon Walker. They were probably the three biggest winners in the combine. Here's prospect 20, Nakobe Dean. I love Nakobe Dean, undersized. I have him going 32 to the Lions. Kneecap biter, undersized linebacker, fast, tenacious, smart, true leader. Played the mic in that defense at the strong safety size. And if you could do that in that style of competition, I think he's worth, a top first-round pick, and he's a top 20 prospect to me. Prospect 21, Zion Johnson. Love him a lot. I think he could be the next best thing at the interior offensive line position, that kind of going back to that bolder, low center gravity look instead of more of those guys that are a little taller, higher up, longer arms. I think this style of guard is going to be really good for whichever team picks him up. I have the Chargers taking him, I think at 17. And I think that that's a great scheme fit. It's good to keep, the interior of an offensive line, have less pressure, not only for the run game, but the pass game. There's nothing like interior pressure in the pass game to make a young quarterback like Herbert, no matter how good he is, it's always hard to make a quarterback roll out due to interior pressure. And I think Zion Johnson is going to help out with that a lot, especially with the bolstering defenses of the AFC West. Prospect 22, that is going to be David Ajabo. He would be top 15 if he didn't tear his Achilles, but the Achilles tear is going to cause him to fall out of the first. He could have a Justin Simmons effect, where Simmons had the suspension. Was it? It was the injury. Suspended in college, an injury. Ajabo has no off-field issues, but the Achilles in his pro day really killed his draft stock from a surefire top 20 pick to he could fall to the end of the second, and he's not a top 15 prospect because of that injury for me. But he's maybe the third or fourth best pass rusher, pure edge pass rusher. Prospect 22, we're going to go with Garrett Wilson, receiver at Ohio State. Yes, I have him going as the first receiver due to no trades. Trades get a little messy. That's a great, perfect trade-out scenario for the Falcons to get out of the top 15 and take him 17, 18, 19. That's where I could see Wilson fall. Even though him and Olavey are very similar in size, they're not the same player. Wilson's more of this, jittery, twitchy, short area quickness guy, while Olavey is more the streamlined, really graceful gazelle strider of an athlete. Both good at route running, but I like Olavey more. He's proven more in the years that I've seen him play. But Garrett Wilson, do not sleep on him. He's a slot outside guy. He's a mini Scary Terry, in my opinion. Pick 24, it is going to be Trent McDuffie out of Washington. He's a top 4 corner for me. He's a little smaller than you think, like his teammate Kyler Gordon, but the ball skill is there. The ball skill is there. The ball don't lie. He's just one of the best corners in this draft class. Not only is he, in college, but in the draft class, Pick 25, as we're reaching the halfway mark on our prospects, I'm going to go with our first quarterback, Malik Willis out of Liberty. Upside's too high. Athleticism, arm, the look, fits every scheme. If you want him to be a running quarterback, you can. If you want to be a throwing quarterback, you can. If you want to be a passing quarterback, you can. Very different quarterbacks, by the way. He could be all three, depending on the mold you want him to be. That's why he's my number one quarterback. Prospect 26, we're going to go with Kenyon Green. I had him going later in the first to the Titans. He has flexibility all over the offensive line. And I think he's just going to be a stable if he can stay healthy. Prospect 27, we're going to go with, where's my guy? Kaiir Elam out of Florida. First round corner. I had him going to the Bills, I believe. I'll have to double check that. And I think he fits the mold as the new day and age alpha. That 6'1", 6'2", 195 to 200-pound guy that's going to match up with your number one receiver, shut him down, and make you, pick apart the rest of this defense. Kaiir Elam is a really good corner, a little bit slept on, but he's a top 5, and there should be 5 corners going in the first round of this draft. Prospect 28, we are going to go with another receiver, and that is Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. He was my number 1 a while ago, didn't test as well, and then the more I watched the film, I think I just fell in love with other guys more. I more fell in love with even Johan Dodson, who I was thinking about putting in my top 30. But I just think the size is a little bit turning off for me. I think he's going to be scheme dependent his first couple of years as he develops his style of play. Because, every year I've watched the past 2 seasons of him, and he's went through phases throughout every season where he was a perimeter guy. They used him as speed. They used him more inside on inside cutting routes. And then there's more of this crossing route kind of Johan Dodson. We'll get there when we do receivers. Hopefully I could pump that out within this week or next week. But Johan Dodson isn't breaking my top 30, but Treylon Burks is the size, the scheme, the way he could throw screens, the way he breaks tackles. He's just one of the best at breaking tackles in this draft in general, not at the receiver position, in general. That's why he makes my top 30. Pick 29, it's going to be Trevor Penny. I'm not the top 10, the top 15 guy on Trevor Penny. He's really good, but I just think that he's not this brick wall at tackle that everybody thinks he is. I could see through, not a facade, but I could see through the flaws. I could see through the small school dominance. I could see through the height, the length, the testing, the speed, the film. I could see through that. I could see he's got a little bit of a hitch. He gets a little stiff with inside moves, which result in outside moves working later on in the game. He's a creature of habit that doesn't adapt and overcome throughout the game. If he's a brick at left tackle for a game, he's going to be a brick the next game. If he's a mover in that tackle, that next game, he's going to be a mover until his coaches or something flips and he finally realizes that he can't keep using inside on a speed guy. And he can't keep using, this base kick step on, a 3-tech that lines up on his shade. He just can't. He has to realize that, yes, he played at a small school and dominated, but you have to realize that in the next level, you have to pick up and you have to adapt every other series. And he hasn't done that in Northern Iowa because of the small school, small school comp, which I never truly believed in until I watched more small school guys like Trevor Penny this year. But he's a first round pick, but he's not this, top 3 guard or top 3 tackle that you guys think of. I don't think he's a top 3 tackle. Pick 30. We're going to go with my second quarterback. And my second quarterback is actually Sam Howell. I just think his quarterback style, I want to compare him to, he's what we thought Baker Mayfield should have been. This undersized, mobile, thick guy that can throw the ball deep, has a little touch, and can run around and can really make plays no matter what, type of weapons he has around him. Sam Howell literally was the best player in the ACC with no playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, no O-line, no receivers, no backs. He lost 2 backs, he lost 2 receivers, and he lost, countless big plays, countless first downs, countless touchdowns because of that lack of talent around him, but he still was able to elevate guys around him. And that's what he makes my, top 32, first round picks as a prospect. And prospect 31, I'm going to go with Perion Winfrey out of Oklahoma. Senior Bowl stud, one of my guys, one of my favorites. If he fell to the 41 or 40 or 41 pick, I would gladly snatch him. No matter if we don't have a need at defensive line or even interior defensive line. He's a guy that's the upside's too high. Upside is too high. And to round out my first round prospects, I'm going to go Johan Dodson. I said that Treylon Burks is up here, but he doesn't fall far. Treylon Burks is just a more physical, bigger Johan Dodson. But Johan Dodson does have better hands. He has one of the best hands of the class. Really fast, really good. Like I said, a little bit more twitchy, a little undersized, but he's really, really good at route running and catching the ball. Like pure pass catching sets, he's one of the best. Carl Aftis, prospect 32 or 33, a little bit of fatigue for me. I think he's a great scheme fit no matter where he goes. He's just a little bit more old school, the size, the speed, the intangibles. Looks the part, but just plays a little more old school. And I think that's going to deter a lot of teams from taking him in the first. Prospect 42 or 34, Lewis Seen out of Georgia. He's probably going to be the surefire cut 3 safety for everybody. He's more, he reminds me a lot of Jordan Fuller from Ohio State. A little bit more of a slimmer Jordan Fuller. And I think that if you could snag him in the second round, that's a great pick. As we come to pick 35 here. As we come to pick 35, this is where you'll start to see guys that you don't recognize as much in the top 50 prospects, and you'll see guys that aren't up in here. And this is where my running backs start coming off the board. We're going to go with Isaiah Spiller out of A&M. He's my number 1 back. I shouldn't spoil it, but, he's my number 1 back. I think he is the best all-around guy. He's probably the first 5-tool guy we've seen since Saquon Barkley, 4 years ago. And worth taking in the first? No back is worth taking in the first this year. And I'm a running back in the first round advocate because I used to play running back. And, I just know how many hits and how hard it takes to play running back and just the pass blocking set, the routes, the zones, just the looks of the defense. And you got to remember audibles just as well as a quarterback. But, everything else. But, I think Spiller's the clear-cut number 1, not by a while, but, there's definitely a tier gap between him and some other guys. 36, here comes Kenny Pickett. I'm a big fan of Pickett. He's just not my guy. Really good. If you could elevate every year, it's good, but why does it take 5 years to elevate every year? I don't know, but growth is better than stagnant or decreasing in production, not just stats, but production and big plays and play style and elevating players around you. Prospect 37 to Marvin Leo. He's fallen big time. Not only is the misdemeanor, not even a misdemeanor marijuana charge, I think. He was just celebrating. He had like a joint in his car. And the cops put him over, caught him with it, a little slap on the wrist. But if a team snags him, 28 picking up, that's great value. But people had him going top 5 and then top 10 and then top 20 and then all of a sudden falling out of the first. I could see him going, back into the first like a Boye Mafe like last year. Oh, Odafe, not Boye Mafe. Odafe Owe, like out of Penn State last year. I think he could be a guy that, sneaks up into the second, sneaks up into the first, has first round potential, skills tests, but kind of just fell a little bit. I think that's what Marvin Leo can be. Prospect 38. We're going to go with Christian Watson out of North Dakota State. He's a unicorn. No guy should be 6'5", 210 pounds, run that fast, move that quick, have that kind of hands around running. Truly dominated at the, D2 level or lower D1 level. I forgot what it was, the FCS level. And, he's just one of those big, long gazelle guys, like I said about Chris Olavey. He's just a smooth athlete, really fast, elite speed, quickness. It's just, will he really pan out in the NFL? He's one of the biggest boomer busts based off of his athleticism and film. But it's a true just risk it. I had the Packers taking him at 22. I could really see him coming up that high. I could see him coming up that high and getting taken. Prospect 39. We're going to go Kyler Gordon out of Washington, a little undersized. I thought he was going to be about 6'1", 205. He's 6 foot, 195 pounds, 199 pounds. He's more of a man corner cover. Now that I look at it, I thought he'd be better in a scheme fit, especially when I watched Washington past 2 years. I did notice he lines up a lot better on left side in man coverage than, on the right side oppo of, McDuffie. But Kyler Gordon is a really good prospect. And this is when my other cornerback will come off. Tariq Woolen is probably one of the biggest boomer busts aside from Christian Watson. It's UTSA, 6'3", 205, 4'2", 40 speed. Matches up, mismatch. It's just, will he pan out? I think he will, depending on the scheme. He's either going to have to go to a cover 2 scheme, to start off his career, or just, get shot into a Seattle 4-3, 4-3 cover 3, where it's really him just covering the back end of the third. And he's got the speed to cover. He's got the size to cover. A little bit raw, a little bit stiff in the hips, and just small school comp. That's the only reason why he falls. And then here comes a big surprise, Jalen Petrie out of Baylor. I think he has the most flexibility slot-wise and corner-wise out of this draft class. I know I said that about Kyle Hamilton, but I think he has more linebacker, dime, nickel flexibility. And I think Lewis Cine has really good slot corner possible. But Petrie is that guy that can play center field. He can play box. True strong safety at an undersized position, like that thumper, that presence guy. And he's got the speed and the range to show for it too. It's just, who's your personal favorite? And I just think Cine played in a little bit better of a scheme and a little bit better competition. But Petrie does have the upside, just like all the other guys. And we're going to finish off these next 2 picks and then show the last 7. And then we're going to go check edge right here. And one of my guys is Boye Mafe out of Minnesota. I think he's a really good scheme fit in a 4-3 end. He's not going to stand up as this 3-4 outside backer. Chad Muma is my number 43 prospect. I do have Christian Harris going over Muma, but I think Muma is just, I think people are going to be a little bit more intrigued with his, big play and, film over the past 2 years. And now we're going to do our final 7 picks here. I'm going to go Leo Chanal, really big thumping linebacker. I've never seen anything like him. Strong, straight line speed, downhill, stout at the point of attack. He is every 1990s defensive coach's first round pick dream. 6'3", 255, the strongest guy at the draft, straight line speed, long arms, great IQ, great leader. He's a early 2000s, 1990s coach's dream in the first round. Let's see, edge, interior defensive line. I'm a big fan of, a couple guys that aren't too high, like Matthew Butler, Thomas Booker, Ayoma Owuzuriki, Neil Farrell, LeBron Ray, all these guys, PJ Mustapher, LaRon Stokes. These guys I'm really big fans of, but Travis Jones at the Senior Bowl is just one of those guys. I thought he was going to be a little bit more Zion Johnson sized at 6'3", 220, but came out at 6'5", 320 some pounds. An absolute mover, by the way. And he's just, I think he's a little bit of a less athletic version of Jordan Davis, a little smaller and a little less athletic. Nothing wrong with that. Still first round worthy, but I just think that in prospects wise, he doesn't break my first round prospects. Let's go with O-line. Sean Ryan and Dylan Parham out of Memphis are really good, really late risers. But Tyler Smith out of Tulsa, I've been telling you, if he plays anywhere else but Tulsa, if he plays at Kansas, if he plays at TCU, if he plays at Texas Tech, he's a first-round pick. There's another guy I really like. Where's he at? Plays for Oklahoma. Marquis Hayes. I don't know why he keeps falling. I have him going in the late sec. I could have him going late in the second. Could have him going in the third. He just keeps falling. He's a really good old school, you know, right here, right now, square up phone booth guard that I think is going to be a steal, and I think he's going to play for a long time. Don't sleep on Marquis Hayes. But right now, we're going to go Tyler Smith out of Iowa. And then we're going to come back here and take Daniel Falele out of Minnesota, 6'9", 340 pounds of a man. Seattle, I had Seattle taking him with one of their 40 overall picks, and I think he's just going to be that guy. Desmond Ritter comes off the board here at 48. He's going to be my last quarterback on the board. I liked him a lot at the beginning of the year. I had him as my number one, and then just kind of fell as I watched more film. But he's a really good athlete, the fastest quarterback, maybe one of the most athletic quarterbacks aside from Malik Willis and Sam Howell. Just falls here. He does make my top 50 barely. But as we get to our last first-round receiver, Skye Moore, who I had Tampa taking, I think he fits what you wanted in Antonio Brown. You wanted him as this, kind of slot guy who has outside versatility, who's not scared to go over the middle, not scared to run scared complicated routes, not scared to learn a new scheme. And I think Skye Moore's just this guy that's just going to pick up a book and really, really just run away with it. And here is the last of my prospects. I really, really like a lot of these guys, like Kenneth Walker. I'm a big fan of Brian Robs. I love Bama backs, by the way. Rashad Wright's a big riser, as well as James Cook and Tyler Batty. Can't sleep on these guys like Hassan Haskins and Jerrion Ely, Jerome Ford, Kyron Williams, Pierre Strong, Zamir White, Damon Pierce is one of my favorite. Tyler Algier is one of my favorite. Don't sleep on Zonovan Knight, Keontae Ingram either. Big back. Isaiah Pacheco out of Rutgers. He could be one of those 6th, 7th round guys that just sticks around. CJ Verdell, I think he's going to come back. Don't sleep on Borgie being like a 7th round, 6th round flyer that's going to end up being around. Master Teague, Raheem Blackshear. These guys are guys that have been around a really long time, 3-4 years, that just haven't declared. You look at quarterback, I got Matt Corral and Carson Strong, who I clown Carson Strong for the longest time, but after I've watched a lot of film, he's made throws that few quarterbacks in the NFL can right now. And then big fan of Jack Cohen and Skylar Thompson. Can't forget about Derek King, who's been in this league, who's been in college since I've been in high school. And I've been out of high school for 3 years. And Dustin Crum out of Kent State, sleeper, by the way. And the receivers, I love Mechie and Pickens. Sleeper on Shakir. David Bell has that scheme size. Jalen Tolbert. Ezukanma is one of my guys. Ross is a big faller. Bo Melton's one of my guys. One of the biggest risers in the draft community, which I drafted him going in the 3rd to Kansas City. I'll claim that stake that I didn't know he had 4.3 speed like that, but I claimed it now, and I'll put it here that he's worth the 3rd round pick. Reggie Robertson, Rambo, Kevin Austin, Trey Turner out of Tech, Cropper out of State. Just some of these guys are just guys that are just forgetting about, as well as I have no tight end in my 50, which is true. All these guys, aside from McBride and Likely, are just bunched up in the C tier. Looking at tackle, Raymond is a 1st round flyer. Lucas is a big high guy on me. Love Ryan Empowerment, Ingram and Kennard and Sawyer and Lasita Smith, Cam Jurgens. Look at D-line, I already said I like some of these later guys. Edge, Cam Thomas, Hall, Ebikitty, Bonito, Draxon, Smith, Sanders, and Agbari, Hall, Allen. Can't forget about Christopher Allen, just keeps getting pushed back. Myron Tagovailoa, Mosa, Wright. These guys are all guys that can be 3rd round picks. I don't have Christian Harrison my 5th as my 50th guy. I'm looking, you're looking around here, Joe McCreary, all these guys are really good, but, there's just one guy that I just can't get out of my head as this, this just big, just dude that's stuck in my mind, Cam Chancellor. all I see is Cam Chancellor. That's Sterling Weatherford out of the University of Miami, Ohio. He's my 50th pick, 6'3", 225. He is he's the small school version and less athletic version of Kyle Hamilton. And if you could grab that somewhere in the third, second round, that's great. I've got a lot of big names like Brisker, Cook, Nick Cross, Reed Blinken, Mathis, Joseph. These are my guys' safeties. McCreary, Walker, all these guys that I just said, that are still on the board, that if I made a top 75 pick would be clearly gone. So that is my big board, my top 50. Let's look at it. I got Kayvon Thibode 1, Evan Neal 2, Ikem 3, and maybe surprise at Hamilton 4. 5 is Hutchinson and Johnson, back-to-back edge rushers. To round out my top 10, I got Jamison Williams, my first receiver, Ahmad Gardner, my first corner, and then to finish off with Trayvon Walker and Olavey. Stingley, my second corner, comes off the board here at the big board at 11. My first big D tackle, Jordan Davis at 12, and then Booth and Lloyd to finish out the top 15 with Charles Cross at tackle. Daxton Hill starts off the 16th prospect, as well as Lenderbaum, undersized center at 17. Drake London, big body jump ball receiver at prospect 18. Davonte Wyatt, a little speedier finesse pass rush interior defensive lineman from Georgia, coming in 19. Nick Dean, undersized leader linebacker at Georgia, 20. Zion Johnson, a new day and age guard, coming at 21. Ajabo at 22, injured edge rusher. Garrett Wilson, he's my first receiver in the draft taken, but here at 23 in my prospects. McDuffie at 24, and Malik Willis, my first quarterback on my big board to round out the first half of my big board. Kenyon Green to start off the second half. He plays everywhere. Kyer Elam, a true alpha number 1 corner with the size, speed, and intangibles. Treylon Burks, big play waiting to happen at a receiver. Trevor Penny, a little bit of small school guy. I'm getting a little prospect fatigue, but he's still going to be a surefire pick. Howell's my second quarterback off the board, as well as Perion Winfrey, one of the better, guys with biggest upsides as a pass rusher, as an interior defensive line. Johan Dodson comes here at 32. Carl Laftis, edge rusher, falling a bit, comes at 33. Lewis Seen, a really good overall prospect, long, lanky, twitchy out of Georgia safety. My only running back in my big board is Isaiah Spiller out of A&M. He's a 5-tool guy. My second quarterback off the board is Kenny Pickett out of, my third quarterback is Kenny Pickett out of Florida. Out of Pittsburgh. Marvin Leo out of A&M, versatile defensive lineman. Christian Watson, he's a unicorn receiver out of North Dakota State. No one should be that big, fast, and strong. Kyler Gordon and Tariq Woolen are back-to-back corner picks. Gordon from Washington and Woolen from UTSA. Speedy Woolen and really good shutdown Gordon. Jalen Petrie, one of my favorite undersized safeties, comes here at 40 out of Baylor, 41. Boye Mafe, really good stout defensive end at the point of attack out of Minnesota. Chad Muma and Leo Chanal are linebackers out of Wyoming and Wisconsin. Muma is more of this hybrid linebacker, and Chanal is more of an old school thumper. And then round out my 50, Travis Jones, true nose tackle out of UConn, can play all over the line with pass rush upside. Tyler Smith, guard out of Tulsa. Falele, tackle out of Minnesota, one of the biggest dudes you'll ever see. My last quarterback, Desmond Ritter, off the board here at 48. Skye Moore made the first round to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in my mock draft, and he's a top 50 pick for me. He just has it. And to lastly round it out, maybe one of my guys, Sterling Weatherford, 6'3", 225 out of University of Miami, Ohio. He's got Cam Chancellor written all over him. These are my top 50 prospects. I will be trying to bust out, positional rankings and, more first round trade mock draft. Hopefully by the end of this week, or maybe before the draft next week. I will be uploading as much as I can. This one should be going up today. If not, it will be going up Tuesday, the 19th. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're new, please subscribe. And even if you're new or coming back, please comment, please share, what you want to see next, who you want, featured in this video. If you want someone on, if you want to see your guys, you want to, compare mock drafts, what I would do, what Israel do. Yes, those will all be coming. Please comment down below. Please like, please share, please subscribe. Anything helps. Let's get back into football content. Everything's coming at you at 110 miles an hour, and catch you guys on the flip.